I want to add to that last message that if it weren't for God, I don't think that I would have been able to get through some of the things that I have, especially the amount of grief that I've been moving through in the last few years. However, like today, my kid has fever. Like he definitely has had some kind of sickness that's come over him the last few days. And pretty much from the time, not right when he was diagnosed, but like from the time that we had I don't know, it like hit me really hard the first time we had an issue at school, and he went through a whole, it wasn't full-time school, but he went through several months of school before I had to go and get him. But like preschool, he had all kinds of behaviors at that point, and that was before his diagnosis, and I would have to go and get him because they didn't know, they had cameras at the school that we went, which was, they thought on the front end it was a good thing, but it ended up being for the teachers, they had like, it was hard. So anyway, that first time I went and picked him up from pre-K was the second half of the year, and that same day I remember thinking, our life is never gonna be normal. It's not gonna be like I was already a single mom, but I just had this knowing that it was like, I don't know what it's going to look like, but we're not going to be living a typical life. And like a typical, like my kid has a bunch of friends and might do things with moms. And like, I don't know, I just had this knowing that it's not going to be typical. So I've accepted that. And like, I also, because of doing my own healing work, I'm also I'm not like hanging out with friends all the time or anything. So in that way, that aspect doesn't worry me that much about my kid. But I do want to get him an IQ test and see if he has like learning struggles, because that I do think will determine what his future is going to be like. And I'm fully ready. Like we need our time apart. We need our separate lives. We both need therapy. I definitely need therapy. He has this, I don't know I don't know if he needs like regular therapy, and he's in OT and speech, but, we need an environment that's supporting us in a better way. But outside of that, like I'm okay if my kid needed me for the rest of my life, as long as I can continue to work on my own mental health and keep myself in a good space, because I might more or less probably have CPTSD, and that's one of the reasons that I go into that dark place of like thinking everything is bad. Like I've relived the nightmare type of thing. So because like my kid today, like even though he's not doing more, like he's sitting here laughing and like bubbling, and he repeats things that he sees and he laughs about it, and he's like, it's so funny. And I'm like, he's in his own little, like, I'm like, it's funny to him, it's not funny to me. But that's what's most important. And I also, for us to be able to continue to have the privacy and peace and stability. Like because I don't know how many more things that I don't know if he'll change in a few years and have friends and be very vocal. That might be, or he might be more verbal, but he may not. So, I've learned that I don't see it as like there's something wrong with my kid. And I just wanted to clear that up, because it's like, I don't view things that way anymore anyway, because like nothing about the way that we've done things has been like a typical trajectory. So, I don't think that my kid is like feeling broken or feeling I hope that he's not feeling neglected. However, his intellectual like abilities is what's up for question. And then you know, if I don't end up doing more work, he's not I mean, I do things here and there. He's seen me do jobs before, but like, you know, and then not having a male figure in his life and stuff like that, like, there's those aspects that he's missing. I also know that like family is big for him because he doesn't like he's not shy. That's the other thing. He's not shy with other kids. So he's not afraid of kids, but I don't know if he has some social anxiety because of the fact that he can't communicate more. He doesn't shy away from people at all. Like, he's not like that, but he doesn't want to engage more. So, you know, he gets very excited to go see family, and he asks about them when they're not here. So that's one other thing that I know that he likes to have that he doesn't get a lot of. So that is kind of sad. And I'm not really worried about the bike thing. He could use the exercise, like, just because there's not that much, you know, he doesn't do sports and stuff. So it's like there are all those there are a lot of little things like that where he's not really getting, like, I do exercise, we're doing exercises in OT, and I do stuff with him, but like, he's not getting, like, his upper body is kind of, so, you know, there's things like, there's those little things that I still want to figure out for him. But, if we could find an environment that's more supportive, where we have at least people around us that are, understanding is not the right word, because it's not that I don't think that people can be understanding, but it's like, honor our needs, and also for me to have, like, financial stuff figured out. If I could have a job that Teddy could do with me, that would be the one other thing I would ask, because I do feel like it's unlikely that he's going to go to college. There's really no way of knowing right now. That would be the plus to him going to the schools, that they have the ways they're going to put him through the testing. So we're going to kind of see where he is, but that's also still just general, because if he's not answering all the questions, and then they have a psychiatrist or psychologist that does play therapy that's going to be there, and that will also be awesome to see. I know that I think that he does have some depression, because there are days where my sadness will affect him, or like we're at the park and I can tell he's just not really wanting to play, but that doesn't happen all the time. So if we could be in an environment that was more supportive to the both of us, I think that alone would help a lot, because I need to continue to be able to hold space for my kid, because he's developing in a different way than most kids are, and in a slower way. So, and because he may not go to college, and I may need to be there more for him for longer or for forever. Like, I just don't know. And that doesn't bother me. Like I said, as long as it's like, I knew that our money and my mental health, I could keep myself stable, because it is a lot. And knowing now that I also have still things to work through on my own, like, I really want to do plant medicine now, because I'm like, I want to keep working through my stuff, so that I don't want to be depressed, and I don't want to be thinking the worst, because my kid needs a good mom. Like, he needs a mom that doesn't look at the world that way, you know? So, yeah. Because even having this home, like, there's definitely the things about getting it fixed up, but it's like, it's not bad. We've lived in a trailer. We've lived in something that was like, I mean, having the bugs is really gross, and you can't completely avoid it, but like, that part is really gross. We've got to get the bug guy out here, but like, it could be worse. We could be homeless. Like, it could be a worse scenario. And I still sometimes feel that, like, that feeling of entrapment, or like, everything's horrible, or it's never going to get better. That's me. That's my stuff that I have to keep working on. I think all moms, that's got to be a thing that all moms go through a little bit, because you're like having to do whatever you have to do with your kid, and it's not like you just like, oh, they can't escape. But like, I get that. That's probably why a lot of moms smoke weed and stuff like that, because it's like, you got to put up with whatever, and you're just taking on that load, or that lack of freedom that you used to have, and choice and stuff like that. And you know, it is what it is. So, and I definitely don't want to like hate my kid or like hate the fact that I'm a single mom. Like, there have to be ways to make these things work, and a continuing to progress instead of it getting harder and harder, you know? All right, that got a little drawn out, but I wanted to share that because like we've been living a very atypical life, and that's what kind of like bothered me more than anything about my neighbors, because I was like, she said a bunch of stuff about the animals and stuff, and I was like, she's probably noticing me when I'm outside. I'm not like always out there, but like I hug and talk to the trees sometimes, and I talk to the animals out there once in a while. Like, not every time I'm outside, but like that's just kind of a thing that I started doing with all of this. And I'd like to feel connected to Mama Gaia, but I'm like, it makes me uncomfortable to feel like people are watching me. It's like, I don't want to hate them, but I mean, I was like, I thought y'all were like honoring our privacy, but now I feel like you guys were just studying me, and that's very uncomfortable. Like, that doesn't make me feel safe. So, okay, I think that's enough on that share.